So the first thing to do is put the rod together. Now the important thing when you're doing this is to make sure A, the sections are pushed together securely, and B, the eyes are all lined up. They need to be in as straight a line as possible. So push the joints of the rod together, then what I do is I look down it like the barrel of a gun and just make sure the eyes are lined up and pushed together nice and securely. Not too tight though. Don't jam them on as some people do, as you will have problems getting them off later if you do that. Just a nice secure push. And the same with the butt section. Put them together, line all the eyes up, just give it a little shove. And that's it, the rod's now assembled. As for the reel, the next stage is to thread the line through the eyes of the rod. So what we're going to do is make sure the line's coming off the reel nicely, there are no tangles. Pull the bail arm back, make sure the line is running off the spool with the bail arm back unhindered. I then close the bail arm. And this just stops the line coming off the spool too quickly as we're threading up the rings of the rod and causing any tangles. But in order for me to pull line off and actually thread the rod up, what we need to do is slacken off the clutch at the bottom of the reel, and that just allows me to pull line off the reel nice and slowly as I thread up the eyes of the rod. So that's done. So now we're going to thread the line through the eyes of the rod, starting obviously with the biggest eye closest to the reel. And all we're doing is very slowly working our way up, putting our line through the big hoop, which is obviously the eye of the rod. Take your time and make sure it does go through that big lined hoop and not through any of the legs that support the rod rings. And also, I know it's quite a monotonous job this, but do make sure your line actually goes through all of the eyes on the rod. It's very, very easy to miss one when you get into your rhythm of threading them up like this. So just make sure that every single eye, you pass your line through it, pulling line off using that drag as you do so. It's important to have that drag set nice and loose just so that you can keep pulling the line off as you go. I just like to pull off around 2 or 3 feet at a time, and that just stops any tangles from forming. And before you know it, you've got to the end of the rod and you've threaded the rod up.